Hey, welcome everyone to another edition of the Skookum Session Bigfoot Podcast Q&A. We are back. We are going to be doing our regular episodes from now on, but I think we're going to stick to every 2 weeks on this one, on this particular show. Tonight we were going to do a show on tracking for how to treat a Bigfoot sighting or Dogman sighting as a crime scene, stuff like that. How to properly process it, kind of like the show you and I used to have, Gary. Stuff we talked about. But Nick got a question at the last moment, and it's a good one. So Nick,
I just think it's a little more exciting than doing crime scene investigating, and
for sure.
And also, Israel's not here.
Yeah,
right? So
he's not here. So
it would have been better if he was here too. Between us, we could have bounced it. But the question I got was this: you are a cryptid field investigator. You're in the field about 9 miles into the forest. You're traveling with your normal team of anywhere from 3 to 7 people. You're kitted up. In other words, you have the equipment that you would normally go out on a field investigation with you. You suddenly come upon some bushes, and out of the bushes pops an extremely angry 9-foot Bigfoot or alpha 7-foot 9-inch Dogman. What do you do?
That's a good one.
Now, surprisingly, some people don't like that question and some people do. But the thing is, if you are a field investigator and you are out there, you really do have to plan for contingencies. Gary, as a former ranger there, I mean, you guys had a plan for contingency A, B, C, D, E, and F, and everything else, right?
Yeah.
You know, if this happens, no plan ever makes, total fruition. Something happens, something goes wrong. You might be out there and you're looking for Bigfoot, and a big old cougar finds you. Grizzly bear, angry, finds you. In this case, what we're putting out there, the person put out there was a 9-foot angry Bigfoot or an alpha 7-foot 9-inch Dogman. Now, obviously, each of them present their own strengths and problems, whereas the Bigfoot's not going to be as fast and swift as an alpha Dogman. Their strength at 9 feet is impossible to measure.
Yeah.
Whereas you have the claws and the speed of a Dogman, and also if he's 7 foot 9 inches, he's probably about 600-700 pounds also.
Right.
So you do have your problems there.
Yeah.
So why don't we start off with Gary?
Perfect.
Well, the first thing I'd have to do when posted a question like that, I would have to answer the questions with questions. What is the Sasquatch or the Dogman doing? Is he charging? Is he just standing there giving a display? Just same way with a grizzly bear. Is he giving a display? At what level do we need to respond with this? But instinctively, the first thing I'm going to do is, of course, charge my weapon, have my guys charge a weapon, move back 3 to 5 feet in a flanking pattern on either side. And we're not going to run because these are a predatory animal. So we would hold firm and make a lot of noise, and then if it becomes more aggressive, then we would have to respond accordingly, because I'm being a non-kill, a definite non-kill provisionary. I'm not going to shoot at something unless it's downright happens to. Now, if he jumps out and it's just full-blown charging at us, I'm sorry. I'm a true believer it's them or us, and me and my whole team, depending on how well they're trained, who they are, and what they are, is according to how they would respond too. But most definitely, I would be the last one to leave the area. Of course, I would be on the forefront of the aggression. Me and the other higher trained individuals already prepared for that. We'd have the heaviest firepower, and we would be assessing the situation and assessing what limit of aggression that we need to respond with.
They should have prefaced it with there was a deer that the Sasquatch just killed. You guys came upon him. You're about 15 feet away, and it's super angry.
Yeah.
And it's all predicated. What you do is predicated on what it does. The cryptid does.
Absolutely.
Of course. But good points. You don't run away because you're only going to run away and die tired.
Yeah.
And typical ranger thing, destroy everything, throw to C4 at them, flank them,
Don't make me call in the A10 Warthog.
catch them in an L ambush, let's just
Airstrike.
move. Pull in the warthogs and the little birds and
Shoot you.
and shoot them. I mean, just over
Let 'em
destroy them,
Well, they do teach us that the best defense is a good offense, but a lot of it would depend on, what you're there for, what the situation is. If you did come up on its prey, then it's, predominantly going to be protecting its meal.
It's kill, yeah.
Yeah. And so it would depend on if it's charging us, or because I have walked up on bears that, on a river, be fishing and a big salmon come up. I've even been chased off of a salmon. I catch a big salmon and pull him in up in Alaska, and the bear come up and take him. I just give him the salmon and I go the other way. I'm sorry. I'm not going to fight no bear for a salmon.
I'm surprised you didn't bite him on the snout. Damn, Gary.
Hey, I might be stupid, but I'm not stupid, but no, a lot of it would depend. It would be a reactionary thing. Nobody knows. None of us know for sure exactly how these things behave. I mean, we all have our ideas and we have our own personal experiences, and my first thing would be, I'm not going to raise my gun and shoot, because we don't even know if a gun will work on these things. I know if I ever come across a Dogman, I don't know how many bullets it'll take to kill it, but I know how many bullets that I'll use, and that's all of them, because I'm terrified of Dogmen. But once again, it would be a precipice on what is happening, and how it responds. If it charges, we would be degressing the situation in the opposite direction in a stately manner. But I've always been a true, how would we say, procurement of don't run from a predator. If you run from it drives me nuts when kids run from a dog that's charging them. And that just kicks in that predatory sense. And I've seen it so many times here in Oklahoma with, pit bulls go after something and the kids turn and run, or somebody turns to run and then just takes it to a whole different level.
Yeah. That's good.
All right.
Good
I'm interested to see Darrell's answer, since he's been out there and he's come up against some good stuff out there.
Absolutely.
Darrell?
Well, start with a Bigfoot. The first thing I would do, and I've had a Bigfoot, not angry, going crazy, but step out behind a tree, and I was with my team, maybe 50, 60 yards from it, and it didn't look very happy. And that's been probably 10 or 12 years ago. But the first thing I would do is I would try to communicate with the Bigfoot. I would say, I'm here in your home. I'm not here to harm you. I'm not here to hurt you. And I ask you not hurt me. And that actually worked for us. It kind of calmed down, and it went off into the trees and we didn't see it again. But Dogman's a different situation. I would probably, I don't know how to communicate with a Dogman, but I would probably back up and hope that it backed up. And if it didn't and it's charged us, I would be like the rest of you. I'd pull out my weapon, and if that didn't work, I would rebuke it. Because I know rebuking works. If you're a Christian and believe in Jesus Christ and you rebuke them, Bigfoot knows what Jesus Christ is, and so does Dogman. I truly believe that. So that would be my answer.
Okay. Yeah. John?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Well, the best, all right. A lot of good ideas have been put forth already. I agree with Gary on what he says. Now, as I said before, Bobcat is bad enough. All right. But you'd have to play it. I think if it were the same situation with everybody, how would you say, 7 people? Basically,
you could have 3 to 7, whatever.
All right, whatever. You got more than just yourself. Of course, I want to joke and say all I got to do is outrun the slowest person. But, it would be a situation of, let's play it like a grizzly bear. All right. I don't think you have to actually say a Bigfoot or a Dogman. I don't think you have to go any further than the reaction like you would with a grizzly bear. Now, how intelligent is a grizzly bear? How intelligent is a Bigfoot or a Dogman? it would be a situation of moment by moment. To me,
Yeah.
that's the best way that I can put it. You don't run from a predator. I am armed. I always am armed, you know? I don't think it would take a big gun to do a whole lot. As I've heard people say, you don't know if what you're carrying will kill a bull, a good sized bull, then it would probably do the job on anything else that weighs 700 or 800 pounds.
Hopefully.
You know, yeah. Now the question almost sounds like they want to know what you would carry. All right. I would empty. I've got a VR60, and it's basically a semi-auto shotgun. Rock Island Armory.
All right. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll get the VR40. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's semi-auto, and it's either 5 shots, 9 shots, or 20 shots. You know, whatever you're slapping into it. And that's a 1 ounce lead slug, hard cast, that'll go through an engine block. So enough about what, you know, but yeah, you'd have to, or what you'd use, but you'd have to play it moment by moment. That's the only way I could describe it. I mean, it's an interesting question. You know, how often does that happen to people? I don't know. You hear people say, oh, well, you know, I shot one. Gosh, Jeremiah, I remember us talking about the conversation about the guy that said he shot the Bigfoot with a 308. What was it? 12 times or something like that. And it didn't even flinch.
I think it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of hard to believe, you know. Maybe he shot at, you know,
And missed.
yeah, and missed.
Exactly.
Shot in, at, and around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're not carrying the right load in the weapon, but I think that's a big factor as well.
That is because 308 that we carry on the team, it's a 200 grain solid core bullet. But see, what I'm taking into effect is, would it stop an 8-foot grizzly? You know, a large brown bear with all the muscle mass and the fat that they have behind that muscle mass, with the thick bones that they have, you know, to get through all that to stop them, you know, unless you're hitting them in the head, unless you're that good that you're able to hit them in the head.
Well, if it's a charging bear, one tip
On all fours.
on all fours I will give you is you drop to one knee.
Go to the level.
Yeah, most people overshoot when they're standing. I say most people. It's a common thing that happens. It'll overshoot a bear when you're standing and they drop down. So I've not had to drop down to one knee, but I've heard it said by people that do hunt bear. And I've not always lived in Indiana. So drop down to one knee and open up. But firepower is firepower. I don't think it's much more than a 12 gauge, a 30-06 or a 45-70 or a 44 Magnum, and all of which are the above I carry. But I don't know. I still say it's a moment to moment thing. What is it doing? Are you on its territory? Did you walk up on it while it was feeding? Does it think you've got its kill?
Makes a difference.
Did you urinate on the ground or take a crap prior to? Is there a lady in the group that is her time of the month? A lot of questions, you know, a lot of things you have to question. You have to operate and react to those. So you know that
story that story out of Fort Campbell back, I guess y'all have heard the story. I've actually heard it several times, and it's supposedly about as true as he did. About it took like 20, I don't remember the exact number. I'm thinking 27 shots to bring down a female that they caught in a bear trap up there. And y'all probably heard that story, but I've heard it several times from pretty credible people.
Are you talking a bear? Or are you talking?
No, I'm talking about a female Sasquatch. Yeah.
Now I'm wondering what they fired at it, right, Gare?
Me too.
Because generally back then it was 5.56.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, or for civilians speak 2.23 round, which is, you know, even the heavy rounds, what, 77 grain. I mean, that's a little tiny bullet.
Mhm.
Unless you got it through the eye and it pierces the brain, you know, 27 rounds isn't so spectacular.
There's a couple of I think they're kind of interesting stories. It didn't have to do with Sasquatch, had to do with bear. But one kid shot a grizzly bear in the ear with a 22 rifle, killed
Right.
it dead.
Right.
Killed it dead. And then there's a story from our past about 200 years ago. A black bear that was harassing a family, and the father was away. And the little girl that was there, 6, 7 years old. Now, this is the story, and stories are stories, and they're all good around a campfire, right? She somehow came up with the idea that she knew bears liked honey because that's where the bear was messing with bees or something to that effect. And she got a bowl of honey laced with rum.
Yeah.
Got the bear drunk, it passed out. Supposedly she tied it up, waited for her father to come home.
Wow.
Tied
Wow,
it up.
Now that's a
Never
pioneer
heard that one
story.
before.
Yeah, that's an old. You know, I don't know whether that's out of Kentucky, Tennessee, or out of somebody's mind that was drinking the rum, but the story nonetheless exists. You know,
I believe that was Tennessee moonshine.
it may
There
have
you
been,
go.
you know,
There
may
you
have
go,
been.
Darrell.
My
Yeah.
question is how much honey and how much rum? Because
Exactly. What's the
I know
proper,
some
mixture?
guys that could do the whole bottle, and I mean a big bottle.
Yeah.
I was going to say, let's find out.
That's
Well-
a lot of
You know.
that's a lot of rum juice there to put a bear down and get him drunk.
Oh,
That's
for-
everyone's homework for tonight.
Well, I
That's
will say on that Fort Campbell story, I have personally seen 30 rounds bounce off the skull of a wild hog.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I've also seen 22s go right through a skull of a hog and kill the
Sure.
hog. I think a lot of it is in shot placement, but one
Yeah.
thing that, you know, I never put 2 and 2 together until me and Nick was talking about it a couple of weeks ago. Jeremiah, I think you was in on that one.
Yep.
When we was talking about the skeletal structure, we don't know
Yeah.
how, you know, the mass of these animals. We don't know. We do know that what do you call it? Neanderthal has twice the bone density as an average human.
That's
Right.
right.
So these things, we don't know what the
don't know.
what the bone density's like. So a 5.56, you know, 223 that round was specifically designed to, and I hate to be so morbid about it, but was specifically designed to kill human.
The
Yeah.
tumble.
And when it hits a bone, it bounces around and everything else. And I know everybody I've killed a lot of deer and everything else with one, but
Yep.
they're not designed with mass in mind. They're designed for a human. So I would believe it if you've got, you know, 4 or 5 guys very excited shooting at something that they've never seen before, even if they've had the training. Because I was at Fort Campbell, I know how some of them guys are trained. I could see where it could take 27 shots to kill
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Carter.
Well, I wouldn't run. I got that much down. I know better than that. I got chased by a chow, black chow, when I was a kid. And, that's the
Oh.
last time.
Oh, talk about a mean. They can be very mean, man.
Yeah, that's the last time I run from an animal. Well, you know, first thing I would do, depending on who I'm with, do I have any females or anybody who is infirm and wants to get out of there?
Yeah.
Turn, calmly walk away, you know, and I'm not degrading women, but they are the weaker sex. And so if they're there because they love what we're doing and suddenly they're thrust into a situation where they don't love it anymore,
Yeah.
if you want to get out of here, back off, take somebody with you, go backwards. Do not turn your back, but just go back and get out of the way. As far as a weapon, I've heard everybody has shared what kills them and what doesn't, you know, and we don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know, you know. I carry a little 38 P-shirt. I've got a 50 caliber, you know, pistol, but I don't always have them with me, you know.
Mhm.
And I would be more inclined, I think, to engage the Sasquatch I do a fairly decent job of mimicking the samurai chatter. I carry several pages from the 50 Years with Bigfoot, Janice Carter. She's got probably 10 or 12 pages of Native American language words that
Really good.
she used to carry on conversations, or she heard them and she deduced the meaning. So I would attempt to engage this being in a conversation, or at least let it know I was on its level that way, instead of trying to exert force. Because I think once you do that, you're definitely going to bite the big one, unless you hit the money shot, the kill shot.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what that is.
Absolutely.
Of course, I'm an old hippie, so it's peace, love, and everything else, and war comes last. But that's what I would do, would be to engage them. I have never encountered that I know a Dogman. I've seen the big, giant, hulking humanoid shapes in the woods at night under moonlight, and you go, God, what, it's something much, much bigger than you. It could be a Sasquatch, could be a Dogman, could be something else. So I don't know how they would react. Everyone here seems to think they would be bloodthirsty and snarling and wanting to kill you. That I don't know. But either way, with the speed that I know they have, I'm screwed. I'm gonna try to talk my way out of it.
Absolutely.
Best I can, because I'm a lover, not a fighter.
There you go.
Carter, I do got to say one thing. I can tell you've never met my wife. When you're talking about the women or the weaker of the, you can ask Jeremiah and Nick. My wife is just the opposite.
I can relate.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, I will stand corrected on that one. But what I mean, I'm thinking of let's go on a Sasquatch expedition, and or whatever.
One thing though that y'all are all bringing up a good point is this is something that teams need to think about when they go out in the woods.
Absolutely.
A lot of folks are, let's go find the big hairy man. Well, what are you going to do when you find him?
Yeah,
are you going to walk out there and try to give him a hug, or are you going to interact with him? Teams, and Nick was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't got it kicked off yet, but a lot of people want to go find, but when they do find, what do? We don't know what we're saying to them, how we're acting. We need to have some kind of as a community, we need to have some type of a SOP. Are you going to run away? Are you going to run towards them and, like I said, try to hug them? I've heard some people say they want to make love to them. I'm like, that's a little too far for me. But being in the position where I've seen one, kind of like you, Carter, but I've seen it up close. I dang sure ain't going to walk up and try to hug one of these rascals.
Right.
I think they can read your mind. I think they know your intent.
Very well, could be.
Yeah.
If they can read your mind, then they will know if you're thinking, good thing I got a piece.
But let me play devil's advocate on that. Are they reading your mind or reading your bodily actions? Because I know that my dog cannot read my mind, but he is so in tune with me.
Yeah.
That John, we was talking about that just the other day with animals. It's like they're almost they're so natural that they're supernatural. But I truly, I'm becoming a believer of there are things in these woods that are realistically spiritual.
Yep.
Absolutely. I agree.
One of the things, I got to put this in here real fast. One of the things that comes through my mind on this is, I think that New York Yankees could definitely use a Sasquatch as a pitcher, right? Now, we hear this all the time about a rock being thrown, all right? Now, if in their minds, in a Sasquatch's head, he knows that he picks this up and he's like, that's the size rock. Yep, that's the weight. He's had past experience. It's like if someone jumps in and wants to pull a knife on you, Jeremiah, from martial arts, well as I do.
Sure.
They pull a knife, that generally means that they've been successful at least one other time.
Yes.
Okay. So he pulls a rock. All right. He knows this is what's going to work. Now, the thing I'm getting at is not only does it work on deer, but something tells me that if they kill animals with rocks, then they kill each other with rocks. So if you take that force, somehow or another, imagine the force it would take of a rock, size rock, mass, energy, yada, 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 to kill something with that rock. Now, somehow or another, work up the equation. That's the kind of force that you would need as far as a bludgeon force to kill something like that.
Right.
Well, you're talking about a bludgeon force. There's two types of forces.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremiah, you can bear me out. There
Yeah.
is the pinpoint,
Yeah.
the piercing, and then there is the blunt force.
The blunt. Yeah.
Okay. Piercing is pop somebody here. You punch them in the same spot and you're going to spread the force out.
Absolutely.
But like John was saying, mass times speed equals the amount of force.
Yeah.
Now
it's
we
just
don't.
it's just something to play with. I know guns very well. And it's just, excuse me, I was lighting something here. Smell good.
What are you lighting there, John? Jeez.
It's incense, man.
Is that Mary J. Juana stuff?
No.
Yeah, what kind of incense you got there, John? Come on.
I think it's like sandalwood. We gave the dog a bath, and he smells like a Sasquatch right now.
Ask no question. Ask no questions, and we'll tell you no lies in Indiana.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right. Chance, let's hear from you. What would you do in that situation, sir? I know you've been in, like, me, Gary, and Darrell, been in that situation.
Well, I think Chance probably still has some of them law rockets left over from the Vietnam days, and that he got from his uncle.
Well, I think after I have my oh shit moment and I change my britches, I think I'm inclined to agree with John and Gary there. My reaction and how I go forward, is going to depend a lot on, whichever one I'm dealing with and how they're reacting.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep their distance, that's great. I prefer that. Myself and the rest of my team will keep our distance, and we'll call it a day. We can go our separate ways. I mean, in theory, I would, if it comes to being aggressive and we have to act accordingly, I would certainly like to hope that between myself and the two other guys on my team that I go out with, I would like to think that we have enough firepower to be able to stop and put enough stop the creature and put enough distance between us that we can at least get away safely.
Right.
John had mentioned something that had reminded me about an encounter that I heard on another show, The Confessionals with Tony Merkel.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of a encounter I heard on his show, and I actually called him a couple of days later after he put out that show and was talking to him about it. But it reminded me of, an encounter he had. I think the guy was up around your area, actually, Jeremiah. But this guy had a similar situation, came face to face with, a 7-8 foot tall Sasquatch on his property. Just so happened to have a 12 gauge shotgun.
It was in Brandon, New York. I know exactly what story you're talking about.
Yeah. Happened to have, his shotgun on him. Raised it up, took aim, and according to this guy, one shot took this thing's head clear off. So I don't know, it's like John said, a story is a story. It's just that. It's a story. If a 12 gauge was able to do that, I would certainly like to think, one of the firearms that I take or the rest of us take out would be enough to take this down. Take this down. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Hopefully, I'm never in a position where I have to find out, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Problem with that is if it's, say it was number 4 buck, you'd have to be close because, buckshot spreads out.
Spreads.
Right.
So I'm wondering how close they were. I'm wondering what kind of shot they're using.
Yeah.
Sure,
Exactly.
shotgun will do massive damage to probably anything, but you got to be close with one to do that kind of damage.
Well, I do.
Right.
I do know that 99% of the wildlife game commissions in every state and in Canada too, all used for nuisance bear, use 12 gauge loaded, staggered slug, double aught buck slug,
Right.
double aught buck.
Yeah,
A lot of the guides in Alaska use them too.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Right.
There is a round that's a deer slug and several pieces of buckshot on the same, and I can't think of what it was. but
Critical
hey,
defense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
help me out here. The investigators, I keep wanting to say it was John Green, but said deer slug and buckshot at the spine.
It was Renee DeHinden, I think.
Renee DeHendron. Yeah. He says, the buckshot at the space of the spine is to get their attention, and the deer slug is to lay them out.
Put them down. Yeah.
Well, in the first place, I'm not going to try in the first place because I'm a non-kill. you know what I mean? I'm a non-kill.
Right. But
Well,
if it came down to it,
yeah, if you're going to hit them in the base of the spine, that means they got their back to you. Now, what's that all about?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna be blunt with all of you, and Nick, you can back me up on this. I'm going to put 2 in the left quarter of the chest and 1 at the base of the jaw. Because if he's 10 feet above me or 10 foot tall and I'm shooting up, it's going to put it at a 36-degree angle. And it's going to go right through the base of his, I can't even talk, the top of his spinal column at the base of where it hits the brain. And it's going to shut him off like a light.
Gary's going to use training. Rangers go Mozambique, 2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
Hey,
2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
All I can say is it has worked multiple times in multiple people's lives, including my own. So if it works for them, it works for me. And Nick, you can't knock it.
Any ranger ever spoken to, same thing. 2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
Now, I've been in that situation, in my second encounter. Now, the thing is, we were about 30, 40 feet apart. She and this brings us back to the abilities as well that we were all speaking of, that when she saw the muzzle of my 300 Weatherby mag on my shoulder, I saw the eyes go to that muzzle.
Yeah.
And to this day I debate with myself, was it really mind speak? Because I felt her saying in my gut, if you pull that off your shoulder, you will not even get a chance to, because I will get to you first.
Yeah.
So in that situation, after I felt that in my gut, what she was trying to convey to me, I froze. I didn't even attempt to do it.
But let me throw something at you though, Jeremiah. Yeah. We as humans are very intellectual people. And John, me and you had this discussion the other night. But when it comes right down to it, we are still very primal. Absolutely. We are very instinctual, and especially with somebody like you and Nick and me and most genuinely anybody that's done any kind of living in the outdoors, they become how would we say, a little bit more detuned from society and everything. Yeah. Well, when you get to that level, you go to that instinctual fight or flight basis.
Right.
So I honestly, in your situation, I know your story as well as anybody, and even with mine. Yeah. I don't think that they mind spoke with me. I think that just our instinct kicks in. Now, in saying that, there are people that has legitimate mind speak. That's where I question, what are we dealing with? Because what's that?
Scott Pace is about the best I've seen with mind speaking with him.
Yeah, because there are people that holds legitimate conversations with these things, and that's a whole different level than what you're talking about. What you're talking about is a physical impression or a what is that the right word?
That's why I said in my gut.
Yeah.
It was more in my gut than it was in my head. But she took it. Now, shortly after that, I didn't even have a chance to think about what I was going to do because she was gone.
Yeah.
You know, she took right off. Now, I agree with all of you on what you were all saying before. If you come upon a dogman, Bigfoot that's pissed off, that's got to kill, and you know, I'm out with my guys, and we're you know, coming in heavy, you know, armed to the teeth, and they're guarding a kill. They get pissed off, they start charging. That's when it comes down to me or this creature,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna defend myself. You know, if I got to go down doing it, I'm gonna go down defending myself. And I want everyone out there to know, just like the rest of the group here, we're no kill.
We're just talking about stuff.
It's
Yeah.
hypothetical. It's to say we're
Well,
no kill. You know,
let's kind of retrospect back for a minute. If
Yeah.
you're doing an investigation in the woods, you know, a lot of people say that when you're in bear country and stuff, make a lot of noise so you don't surprise the bear and everything else. I'm going to say this. If anything is in them woods, you're, especially with the intelligence level and what I've dealt with these creatures, you're not going to surprise them.
not at all.
He's going to know you're coming. So
Yeah,
if you walk up on that thing, get within 15, 20 feet of him and his prey, he's not going to look at you in a surprise. He's going to look at you. You're trying to take my meat.
Yeah, I'm coming after you.
And that would to me, you know, it's like a difference. I've spent a lot of my time up north with brown bear and black bear. It's not the big male brown bears that's on a salmon that we're worried about. It's the mama brown bears with the babies.
Sure.
There's a difference in, I guess, once again, like we would respond, there's a difference in the way they respond. But I honestly don't think that a group of 4 or 5 people are going to sneak up on one of these. So like when Nick says, when you come up on it and it's eating, he's going to look at you like, okay, let's rumble, because you're not going to sneak up on him. He's going to be, you're trying to take my dinner.
Well, not only he's not going to let you sneak up on him, he's going to obviously know you're there, and it's going to be a situation where he is going to let you see him.
Yeah.
Not because I mean, all he's got to do is pick up the deer, throw it over his shoulder, and book. That's it. You know, very seldom could I unless it's old, sick, like a lot of
or injured,
injured, something like that. And then you've got a situation of an injured animal, and if you shoot an animal and you injure it, well, you've got a world of crap on your hands at that point, because you've got to go after it.
Yeah.
And then it is a fight or flight, and he's going to be flighting. he's going to be running, but it's going to be a running fight.
Yeah.
Well, on top of the fact too that you know, I think if you were to shoot one of those, and I do think they can pick up your thought train of what's on your mind. But I do think if you shot one of them, I'm talking about a Bigfoot, or I call them the forest people.
Yeah.
You better be getting out of there, because there's going to be a bunch more coming after you.
Well, another very good point.
That's a very.
It's
good
not the
point.
one I'm looking at that I'm worried about. It's the two sneaking up behind me.
Yeah.
The one behind you, the one next to you on the right,
Absolutely.
and the one next to you on the left. Yep.
The one on the other side of the hollow too. So,
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Now I almost draw the line, and I'm just saying, since we're just kind of discussing this, of them following you home. To me, Carter, me and you had a very good discussion about this a couple of years ago. To me, when these creatures, either one or the other and or both, because in a couple of cases, the lady in Mississippi, when they follow you home, that shows a whole different level of unnatural intelligence, of almost a spiritual sense and a cognitive thought. And I have never heard. Now I've heard of wolves and cougars tracking a person in the woods, but I've never heard them following them 50 miles to their house.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a whole different, and that's where Nick, me, and Jeremiah was talking about. We need need to put these in different categories, because we have the more natural side of things. Then we have these stories of this thing followed me 50 miles to my house and now it's stalking me and my wife. To me, that's not, I mean, that's what I would call a more demonic or you know what I'm saying, than I would a natural Dogman or Sasquatch.
That reminds me of the old Boris Karloff movies where he plays the mummy and he's after you. You know, he's got his arms stretched out like this and he's walking. And the guy gets in the car. He goes 80 miles an hour. He goes 60 miles out of his way and parks the car. And here comes the freaking mummy up the driveway. How did he get there so freaking fast? You know what I mean?
Key point, though, that to me is a whole different category than just seeing something in the woods. And I'm not going to discount it because there's a lot of reports of it happening. So where do we put that in this? Darrell's over here just grinning because but where do we put this? You know, because that adds a whole different, for lack of better terms, I'm going to quote Carter, that adds a whole different dimension to it.
It does. I just had, Nick can vouch for this guy. Send him the picture. I just had one, 3 weeks ago, Nick, leave the handprint on my window.
3 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Carter, prime example. They followed him home. He had something follow him home. I honestly don't know where to put it as a natural Sasquatch or a natural Dogman. At that level, it becomes something supernatural or paranormal.
Something totally different entity.
Yes, and that's the thing with me is, you know, as a researcher, I know we're getting off the tangent here, but as a researcher, Nick has helped me with it because he takes a lot of reports like I do of filing it. I don't put them in the same categories anymore. I put them in separate categories.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Because you know it's just you can't compare. There's no. It looked like a big dog and it came at me and it followed me home. Okay. How did it do this? Did it have any characteristics that matches any of the other cases that we have of a natural Dogman?
That gets spiritual. It gets demonic.
Absolutely.
Therefore, I'm the last one to answer on this one here, guys.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When I'm out there, generally it's 7 people. Generally it's 7, 95% of the time. As I've told Gary and Jay before, every one of these guys are former tier 1
class A.
We train. We're in a diamond formation. All right. What just happened this past January is a perfect example. Now, mind you, this is for you, John, and for you, Darrell. We do carry white salt, black salt, holy water, you know, just in case. I also carry lasers, you know, which I'm going to try to hit in the eyes. I carry the electronic flashbangs, which hits you in the ears and the eyes, both. But what we've trained to do is this: immediately from here, you're grabbing your bear spray. The front 2 guys, we're in a diamond formation. The front 2 guys drop. And on command, if the thing's coming, you're going to blast it with the bear spray. If it gets within X amount of feet, it gets hit with a 200 grain full core, solid core, 308 rounds. And you're talking about 7 rifles going off with maybe within 2 seconds, you've got 4 rounds in it. Now, every one of these guys are trained to hit things while they're moving and the object is moving. Gary, you guys ever train like that?
Say that again.
All right. You're trained to hit things while you're moving and the object is moving.
Opposite reversal shot. Yeah.
That is far different, guys, than somebody being in a range and going like this at a stationary target.
Yeah.
Now you got to remember, you're there with a shotgun, that slug, you could miss at depending on the distance. And buckshot, the further out it goes, the less damage it's going to do.
Yeah.
So unless you've got a street sweeper, Gary, I think you got something like that, right? With a round.
I got something like that.
Unless you got a street sweeper and you're over there, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting it out there. It's going to be rough, but I'm talking about being out there with a trained team. So first thing we're going to do is hit it with the pepper. That bear spray, it happened to us in January. It wasn't a Sasquatch. It wasn't a Dogman, but it was an awfully large bear. It dropped to the ground and ran when it got hit with that. Otherwise, if it was going to come a little further, it would have gotten hit with something else. And like you guys, the International Dogman Project, which I founded, we state right out there, first thing, no kill.
No kill.
But you are allowed to go in the forest, investigate, enjoy the day, and come back home. So
Safely.
I just carry stuff. We all carry stuff to get us back home.
Absolutely.
You know, when you're out there on an investigation, we're not talking about a picnic with your family, in which case you're not going to be 9, 10, 12 miles into a forest area.
Right.
Well, and I think another thing you need to bring in too, into that, Nick, another dynamic is most of the time when you go out with that team, you're going out for a specific purpose. Somebody else has already done a lot of research, and there has been a history of aggression and trepidation. So y'all go out to kind of monitor it, and you're not going out to neutralize the situation. You're just going out to monitor the situation, but you're going out accordingly, because y'all don't just go out on regular as that team, as regular investigators. You go out on the more aggressive side of things.
Right. I mean, I've been out there with other people, not as large a team, but then again, we're not out there to investigate something that's happened. We're just going into a new area, and hopefully nothing will happen, because I'd feel much safer with that team there. But once again, like you guys all even said, you know, we do train for what might happen. If this happens, nobody has to say a word. The front two guys drop down to their knees, bear sprays out, or we all grab the electronic flashbangs, throw them. You know, I mean, that's a pain in my ears just to listen to the 146 decibels going off. I wish I had him down here with me. I would demonstrate it for you guys right now. But 1200 lumens, well, during the daytime, it may not be such a big deal, but it's going to attract their eyes, you know? And like I said, I carry this laser here with the multi looking back at me. You'll see it's multi laser beams shooting. So if that hits, I'm going to tell you, I let them hit me with that in the eyes while I had glasses on, computer glasses. And I had to look away really quick because it hurt. It actually hurt. And it hurt and stung for a few minutes after that. But of course, I had to find out if this would work. And this is a real friggin' laser.
You're lucky you didn't get permanent damage.
Well, I had the computer glasses that protect you from different types of things. Yeah. Let's put it this way. Those computer glasses cost $90. They protect you from everything. UV, ultraviolet, this, that. So I was taking a chance. Yes, Gary, but I found out it hurts.
Oh yeah. Well, it's just like when we go through our CES training, you know, we do it on stuff in the security field, you know, so we do know and how to, but you know, you brought up a good point about a year ago, Nick, and we've covered that on a couple of your shows and my shows too. It drives me nuts when these people go on these research and they drive 30 miles out in the middle of the country and they don't bring spare gas. They don't bring spare water. They don't bring a medical pack, and somebody has a stroke or they have a flat tire with no spare. And you're literally going in after a alleged situation that could get very troubling and distressful. Prime example, a certain group they had a big meeting in Arizona, and some friends of mine and my dad's went out and they broke down 30 miles out in the middle of nowhere. And luckily they had just one person had just enough that they didn't have cell phone service, but they was able to send a message on Facebook. And people went out. But, you know, me working with search and rescue, how many times just a little bit of preparedness goes such a long ways with people doing research, you know, just a little bit of change of mindset and take a little bit of I've had people go out, we're going out in the middle of the night and they bring a flashlight and no spare batteries. It's like,
Gary, even worse. I have this guy who investigates stuff in Canada all the time. He doesn't have a flashlight. He uses the flashlight on his camera.
No, God.
I swear to God. And one day he was communicating with me on his cell phone on Facebook, and we were on Messenger, and he's showing me pictures, live pictures of where he is in this abandoned psychiatric place. It's got like 3 levels underground, and he's under on the 3rd level. He's hearing noises. I could hear the noises. I mean, it could be a wild animal, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
He's got a half a bottle of water with him. One of those 12-ounce bottles, throwaways. That's it.
Yeah.
His cell phone and a bottle of water. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, Chance
They'll
brought a
put it in
good
the
point up the other
casket
night.
with him.
What's that, Carter?
They'll put
Do
the
what?
bottle of water in the casket with him.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
You brought up that point, Chance, when Nick and I interviewed you the other night. You know, when you're going 12, 15 miles back in the woods, you plan on being there for 4 or 5 days, but you're packing for 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. If I'm however long I'm going to be out somewhere, 4 or 5 days, I'm taking double what I'm planning. So if I'm planning 5 days, I'm taking 10 days worth of stuff
Yep.
with me. I'm not risking anything.
That includes T-bone steaks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Another prime example.
If
We
I run out, I'm coming to John to get some more.
didn't have nothing to do with Sasquatch, but about 3 weeks ago, me and out was doing some tracking down on the river, just running through some drills because the old man's getting kind of fat in here, that hound dog, and I twisted my ankle. I didn't break it, luckily, but I sprained it. And that luckily I had good lace up boots. Nick, you know how I'm bad about going barefooted half the time. That one time I had my good military boots on, but that was still, it was a half a mile from the truck, but it took me almost 2 hours to get to the truck. And it was, and I'm pretty tough. I mean, y'all know that, and I'm trained and everything else, but that was the hardest, half an hour getting back up there to that truck. And I'm sitting here thinking, people go miles out in the woods. What happens if you twist and break an ankle? That's where the missing 411 comes.
That's the reason why my team anyway, and everybody bought their own because the boss wouldn't put out for it. We've got the Garmin Mini Reach number 2, the second one. And no matter where you are, Antarctica or whatever, it's going to go up to the satellite and bounce. And there's a lot of satellites up there. But Gary, what kind of boots are you wearing these days, by the way?
You're gonna laugh. I'm sticking with I've got a set of Magnum. You're gonna laugh, Magnum high techs that I wear, and then I wear an old set of Cochrane 2s. But I've just got a pair like you got those the Magnum SWAT with the zippers on the side, but I don't know if I trust those zippers yet.
Well, what we changed over to is the Bates. There's a specific model for the Bates, and the heel area is specifically designed. So if you go this way, if you tie them right, your legs jink over. You're not going to get your ankle sprained very easily.
Is that Bates Tac Force 2?
No, it's got another name to it.
Okay.
I went
Send me a
through
link
hell.
on them.
I went through hell to get them in black, and hell to get a second pair in Coyote.
Really?
I prefer the non-zipper because a zipper has too much give.
Yeah.
But if I'm being serious out there, it's the lace up, proper lace up.
Yep.
You're gonna triple tie it, guys, and you're gonna put them down. You're gonna put them down here because you do not want to get stuck in mud and suddenly your foot comes out of the damn thing.
I take it another step too. I wrap mine in black electrical tape. I do 6 wraps on the top of my boots to hold my laces in.
Well, we like to look cool when we're operating, so we don't do that.
I know. I've seen pictures of you guys.
Underneath the.
I've seen you guys with all your fancy.
Here's the difference between tier 1 and tier 2. It's like
we don't care. We're just there to do the job. And here they come walking in with all their black and their polo shirts and their Air Force sunglasses and their 9 mils or their 45s on their hip and carrying their little M9 carbines, and we're sitting over here covered in dust and blood and mud and looking at them going. And they're going over to their chow hall eating steaks, and we're stuck with MREs.
and pulling guard duty for us. So
yes, we are pulling guard duty for you.
We love that about you guys.
We're humping 20 miles out on foot with the seals, and they're flying out on the little birds. But I do gotta say, more than once, it was them guys that came and got me. So I'm not knocking at them boys. When we knew they was coming, it was coming right. So me and Nick, we give each other hell all the time.
A piece of equipment. You were talking about the flashbang, basically electronic flashbang.
Yeah.
Okay. There's going to be people go, man, where can I get those? Okay, I realize they're going to cost a bit of money, but something I've carried before is a marine horn. You know what I'm talking about? Aerosol can with a horn on it, and I know it's chased game away. I can't say that I've used it against a bear or anything like that, but it hurts my ears whenever I have it.
I tell you what, I've got to where I'm carrying now. Instead of a lot of the times, because in the state of Oklahoma, some of our state parks you can't carry handguns.
Right. Same
I
here.
I carry a Varelli pistol.
A what?
A Varelli pistol.
Varelli pistol.
The flare.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I guarantee you, you put a magnesium. I've tried it on a hog. I shot a hog at about 10 yards with one, and it roasted. We had roast pork.
Gary, there's something that you can buy out there, which, since you said flare, a flare, it looks like a flare gun. It's called a bear flashbang.
Mm-hmm.
It goes bang, and there's a big flash. It shoots a flash out about 15 feet. And when I was up in Moscow, Maine, on a field investigation, we did a demo up there, and they filmed it. I'm going to tell you, in Moscow, Maine, it's black out there.
Mm.
You know, 12 o'clock, 12:30 at night. It's so dark, you can't even see with your flashlight. Well, this flash actually lit everything up. Thank you, my trusty assistant. These are electronic flashbangs.
Right.
And I don't know if they're charged because we were using them, but here, let me see if I can set one of these suckers off the. Damn it. They lose their charge right away after you use them a few times. But this is what you want. They're kind of small. Gary, they fit in a grenade pouch.
Yes, they do. You can stack two of them in on a good mag pouch.
I fit two of them in a grenade pouch, and I generally just carry two of them because everybody has them, and they're dead. They're dead. We did use them because we got a little serious with something that was pounding around out there the other day. And
I can tell you that
threw them.
Nick did one on my show, and it whited out his camera.
Yeah.
You could remember that you could not see anything. It whited it out.
And I wasn't wearing headgear.
Yeah.
And it whited out my eyes and my ears for a good 5 minutes. It's like, Jesus. But these things here, as you see, they're on both sides. And the noise this makes at 146 decibels, it is annoying as hell.
Oh.
Damn it. I wish I could have demonstrated it for you guys. I forgot to charge them, though.
I'm glad you can't.
And believe it or not, if you think about with them being reusable, I mean, they're not a once lost thing. They're not that pricey. I was looking at them, they were like $164 for the cheaper version. I wasn't getting the fancy ones like he's got because I ain't got that kind of money. But and another thing that we was looking at using them for is signaling for help. You could use them to signal for help if you're up in the brush or something.
You know what I carry? I wish I had it down here to show you, Gary. I got a highly polished piece of stainless steel. It's 3x4, and I keep it in my pocket right here, you know, in case you got to reflect sun or light or whatever. But I'm telling you, the bear flashbang, it's in a pistol this big.
Yeah.
No kick, but it goes boom, right? And the flash that comes out of it, you know, what you're looking for is 3 seconds to make whatever it is out there stop. And then you better get your firearm online if it's going to keep coming, because anything to distract like that bear spray, if you hit a Dogman with it, Dogman's supposedly fast. People that say it kept pace with their car, 35, 40 miles an hour. Sasquatch is supposed to be fast. So, I mean, if that thing's, you know, coming at you or whatever, if you could slow it up, if you could slow it down a little bit, it might help.
Orion Bear Banger and pistol with bear spray built in. Bass Pro Shops. Yes, nice. Bass Pro Shops for $49.
That's with bear spray in.
With bear spray.
I wonder if it shoots out in a spray now, or not just straight now. You want it in a conical spray.
Yeah, I'm not for sure.
That's pretty damn good. That's not what I got. I just had the single.
Yeah.
Chance, not to change the subject on YouTube, but how fast were you when me and Nick interviewed you the other night? You were that one kept up with you. How fast? That Sasquatch?
At least 40 or 45. So pretty quick.
That's pretty freaking quick too, you know.
Wow.
Well, remember
he was in his truck, and this thing was chasing his truck.
Wow.
Just remember, a grizzly bear can go from 0 to 50, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's on film. That's on camera. So, I mean,
faster than a Mustang GT right there.
Really?
How fast did you say he was going, Chance?
At least 40 or 45.
Well,
So
you think about it.
Pretty quick.
You think about it. The average human man at 6 feet tall can run 25 mile an hour. If you take something that's 9 feet tall, biomechanically at a run, he's doing twice the strides we are. You could almost double a human.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah,
But you got to remember something else. There's strength and power.
Absolutely.
That's where they're getting. I mean, people are saying, look, big grizzly bear, all big and bunky and, bulky. Sugar. That thing is like, what, 15 times stronger than a man.
Yep.
I mean, that thing the muscle power alone is making it take off.
Yep.
Well, a 90-pound chimpanzee has
Mhm.
3 to 4 times the strength of a human. They can literally separate a man's arm off the body and beat him with it.
Yep.
A gorilla is 3 times stronger than that.
Yeah.
A full-grown chimp supposedly can hold on to a limb, reach down with the other hand, and pick up 450 pounds with its index finger.
Yes. Yes.
That's real nice.
There was an old video going
Comforting.
through the end of the Philippines of a orangutan that got escaped, and he was going there trying to catch him back up, and he was going down the road, and there was a car. It was like a Toyota four-door car, but he didn't reach over like this. He reached over like this with his arm and just grabbed the fender and flipped that thing over.
Yeah.
Just so you take something like what I've seen with shoulders 4.5, 5 foot wide.
Oh, God.
That's the reason I tell people I do carry a big bore. I carry just for my own personal gratification because I honestly, but we don't know what it would take to take one of these down. I don't want to find out.
You guys remember when the cops in Florida had to put down that chimpanzee that lady had that attacked?
When that tore her face off?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they put 17 9mm rounds? In
They emptied 2 clips. Well, 2 officers emptied emptied a clip apiece. I don't know how many hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was at short range.
Yeah,
Right,
but all right, I
exactly.
want to say something about that. They did.
Yeah.
After that, they looked at it. The FBI actually came there and suggested that they go to hollow points, jacketed hollow points.
Yeah.
Gary, they were shooting ball ammo at that thing.
So I was going through it.
It was going through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to put down a raccoon. It was foaming at the mouth and everything. I took my 22. I had a 22 rifle scoped. It was about good 20 feet away. Boom, boom. It started going like this, and the spit flying all over the place. This is in the middle of the day. I must have put about 10 rounds in this thing with a 22, but it was ball ammo.
Yeah.
It went right through it.
Right through
So,
it. In and out.
it depends on what you're going after.
Yeah.
Well, that the key point with even the 5.56, that's what they're known to do is go right through you. That's the reason
Yeah.
they went to a lighter shell and with a soft point.
Mhm.
The Geneva Convention won't let the Department of Defense use hollow points.
No.
Right.
Hell, they won't let you use shotguns either, but
You can't use shotguns against people. You can use them for their breaching implements.
Breaching.
yeah.
Just like my tomahawk is a trenching tool. It's not to be used in combat. It's used as a trenching tool.
Yeah.
And my
But-
knife is a can opener.
But that terrorist fell on my
Hey,
hatchet.
I can't help it. I can't help it. He took it out of my sheath, and in his distress from being scared of all the Rangers coming at him with guns and we was on to whoop his butt, that he took it and put it in his own scalp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Because
He
fear
fell on
does.
my knife. He fell on it. Hey, I'm
But-
Italian, guys. This is an Italian blade,
Gladius.
Gladiator short sword.
But
So,
in
so is
retrospect,
this. Yeah.
in retrospect, we have found in our research area in the past, year or so that we've been going down, that when we carry long guns, just like Jeremiah, what you were saying, when we carry long guns, we have far less activity than
Yeah.
when we carry pistols. We always carry them under, because we all carry concealed here in Oklahoma. We all got our CCL. That we get a lot more activity. So that right there instills in me that they do know something, if they see a big long stick and they can tell the difference in between a walking stick and a rifle. I'm sorry, folks, they can't.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, I did what Darrell, what you suggested when I go out in the woods looking for Sasquatch. I took my hammer with me. He's gonna get brained. Bam!
Good idea. Good idea, man.
That ain't the hammer. That's the stinking anvil. Where's the hammer?
We got all kinds of shit,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have none of my weapons in here. Oh wait.
No, me neither.
I've got the best weapon of all.
There you
Well,
go.
I can tell you right now, Barton Nunley, my other
That's a
research
nice one there,
partner,
John.
he
Yeah.
has got all of you beat. Barton Nunley has got
With that Celtic
the
broadsword.
midnight.
Yeah. I've always quit. I was messing with him one time. I was talking to him about 3 years ago, and I said, "So, what is the point of the really big knife?" And he goes, "It's cool." I was like, "I know it's cool, but are you going to go chasing after a Sasquatch or a Dogman with it?" And he goes, "You darn right." And what's bad is in with his mentality. And Barton, I don't mean nothing by this. I've got all the respect for you. That's the reason I'm saying this. I believe you would do it.
He would.
That guy is fearless.
He's got he calls it midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight.
Yeah, that's his nickname. His big sword is longer than him, but
It's a 5.5 foot claymore, double edged.
it's a bad boy. Yeah.
Two-handed broadsword.
Yeah, and it ain't one of them little cheap wall hangers either. It's like full tang. He had it custom made. It's gorgeous.
Well, gentlemen, unfortunately, we have run out of time.
Oh, really? Time
Yeah,
flies when you're having fun.
time flies. I enjoyed that. That was a good session, gentlemen. Very good session.
As long as it answered the question.
Exactly.
Well, it
I
gave
hope
them
so.
ideas of what to do and maybe what to
Exactly.
carry. And
Makes you think.
next time, guys,
Yeah.
I'll have these charged so we can
Oh,
destroy
yeah.
everybody's pupils. And
Just whenever
Years.
you do, make sure that I've got the volume turned down on my headset because that about blew my eardrums out.
Charge your balls up, Nick, next time we do this.
Yeah.
Well, we
next time we
officially.
do, next time we do it, Gary will show us his weapon that he leaves over there. No, sit down, Gary. Don't stand up, please.
We officially have an F5 tornado about 10 miles south of me. 3 people are already dead.
Oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
Tonight it's been bad. Softball size hail.
What is
Well,
the weather like out there? What kind of, is it warm, cold, what?
The last few days it's been like 70s and 80s. But what's funny is we got a cold spell coming after tomorrow. It's going to be like highs in the 60s.
This has got to be the weirdest weather, guys.
It is
It's
all
snowing here
over.
right now.
In New Jersey, it was 80, then it went down to 48 degrees, and then it went up to 64 today, and tomorrow it's going to go to 86, and then it's
Yeah.
going down. I mean, what is going on?
Snowing in Montana, snowing in Utah, snowing in New York. I'm telling you, folks, I'm looking for a big alien ship to come flying out of the sky pretty soon going, we are here to conquer you.
Or-
Too many things happening.
Yeah, right. Come on down and bring it, right? Guys,
I
I'm
was
thinking,
supposed-
you know, those 3 or 4 balloons, those Chinese balloons. I'm wondering, did they seed the clouds by any chance? Because since when does it snow in Southern California?
Exactly.
I mean, really? I tried looking it up. And
Here's another factor. You know, they have not had the noises in the HARP system in Alaska in the last 2 years. Nobody has reported it.
no.
Wonder if they're going to a different, like you said, a different format.
Different format.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But they have. I do know specifically because studying weather, because I'm a storm chaser, that they have tried seeding clouds. You know, putting particulates in because that's what causes the rain is temperatures, and they put particulates in the upper stratosphere. But wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they
I
used to
was-
seed clouds in Texas. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about the weather. I was supposed to go hiking this weekend. I don't think that's going to happen.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like 74, 75 here today.
Oh,
Roughly.
you're lucky, man. It's
Windy.
windy here too. It's
Windy and
snowing
warm.
right now. I mean, crazy.
I went outside to like I took a potato fork or a potato rake, and I got decorative grass out in front that I had cut down, and I went out there to scrape some of the last bit of it up. No way. That stuff was airborne in a second. It's windy, it's windy, and I know something's going to go down in a couple of days. We're right. When you look
These
at
storms are heading your way, John.
Oh yeah. Well, when you got anything going on in the Gulf, like you look at a map of the Gulf, and if there's something going on down there, it moves in a clockwise direction.
Yeah.
All right. Chicago and Indiana, all right, are right at about say 12 o'clock. So when it comes up, it changes coming over the land, But anytime you got anything going on in the Gulf, you can expect like a hurricane. You can expect rain here or torrential downpour, in a a couple of days later. But yeah, you can keep that doggone weather, Gary.
It's bad. I'm sitting here looking at it now. They've destroyed homes. They're talking 5 people dead.
Gary, do you have a shelter?
Yeah,
I do here, yes.
so good. Stay
Gary,
safe.
Gary,
there.
what part of Texas are you in?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
brother.
Oh, you're in Oklahoma? Okay.
Yeah, I'm central Oklahoma.
What part of Oklahoma?
Central Oklahoma City area.
Oh, okay. I was
But
just
these-
up there 3 weeks ago. I was up in the other side of Broken Bow.
Really? Oh, so you was down around my dad then, where
Oh,
we
we-
research.
Supposed to be
Your
on
weather is heading
an
this way.
expedition.
Yeah.
But we got rained out.
Our area down there is Broken Bow Lake on the east side of it, going towards Arkansas.
Yeah. That's where I was at.
Oh,
Down in the Wichita's. Yeah, Carter, it is. It's heading straight for you. It'd be there in about 6 to 10 hours.
Yeah, it was getting when the sun was setting here. It was ominous clouds.
Yeah.
It was like dark and spooky. I was like, oh, that don't look like the last 3 days has been 75, 80.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather, but
You know,
tonight it's going to get nasty.
I've always wondered what our subject matter does in these storms.
Yeah,
Just hunker down and, because,
Write it out. Who
you
knows?
think about it. They could get off up on a creek bank or something and hide easier than we do. We'd try to hide in our houses. But yeah, you're talking about storm shelters, Nick. It's right here. It's underneath this room.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Get the
Stay
puppy
safe,
and go
Gary.
down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, stay safe. And gentlemen, there's an
Definitely.
awesome session. Do this again the week after 2 weeks. We'll keep this play it by ear, but I'm thinking maybe every other week we'll hit a round table.
All right, you guys.
All right,
I want
thanks.
to do something right quick for everybody that's listening to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
P3 Productions' new show will be releasing the first part of this week. I've got to finish the editing. I've got a great co-host where it's non-Sasquatch or subject matter. It's music. We're talking about musicians. New show's called 20 Feet to Stardom.
Oh, do go on.
It's about the guys that played with the guys. Some people get to go all the way to the top, and some of us are just standing there holding the guitar,
The backup.
while they get famous. But
Oh,
we're going to release our first show, first part of the week.
that sounds
Awesome.
great.
Awesome.
I don't know where I found this crazy co-host. Craziest dude I ever seen in my mind. But we had a great time the other night, first show. Co-host's name's John D. Switzer.
Oh God, I've
Schweitzer.
heard of him.
Oh yeah.
And you probably heard of him coming from Indiana too, haven't you?
Yeah, he's a little
Yeah.
out there, but he's a good dude.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Everybody's got to be somewhere.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All righty.
All right.
John,
Well, have a
Gary,
good night.
Carter, Darrell, Chance,
Darrell,
Jay.
Gary.
Good night, everybody. Stay
Good night.
safe.
All right.
Everyone
Yep.
stay
Good
safe.
night,
out
fellas.
there. God bless, and we'll see you in
Bye.
2 weeks.
Yep.
All right.
Good night.
All right.